Hello and welcome. Today we are diving deep into a very specific playbook from the book Alcoholics Anonymous. We're going to be breaking down Chapter 7, which gives a super precise, step-by-step guide for how one person in recovery can really truly help another. So let's jump right in with the core idea that drives this whole thing.
Okay, this one sentence. This is everything. The entire chapter is built on this single powerful idea. You see, the book doesn't frame helping others as just some nice altruistic thing to do. No, it frames it as the single most effective tool for protecting your own recovery. It's a system of mutual aid where helping someone else is, at its core, helping yourself. So, let's start right there with the fundamental motivation. Why is this work considered so absolutely essential to the program? Well, according to the text, the main goal is surprisingly straightforward.
The book makes no bones about it. This whole process is designed, first and foremost, to lock in the helper's own recovery. It's described as the way to ensure immunity from drinking, especially in those moments when maybe other things aren't working. So the crucial thing to get here is that the benefit actually starts with the person who's offering the help.
And while, the main goal is your own sobriety, the book promises these incredible side effects. It's not just about not drinking, it's about building a life that's actually worth living. The text talks about this amazing experience of seeing a community form around you, of finding a whole new purpose, and says it's something you must not miss.
All right, let's get practical. We get the why, so now, how do you actually do it? Well, the book lays out this surprisingly strategic process that starts way before you even say a single word to the person you're hoping to help.
First things first, it's all about the mindset. The book is really clear that you're not there to preach or to reform somebody or to criticize them. Not at all. Your power, your effectiveness comes from one place, being a fellow sufferer who can be uniquely useful. The whole approach is built on cooperation and a shared struggle, not any kind of moral high ground.
And check out the level of care and strategy here. This isn't about just walking up to people. It's about doing your homework, understanding the person's situation, and then patiently waiting for the exact right moment when they might actually be open to hearing from you. And that last point? It's a hard and fast rule. You absolutely never, ever force the interaction.
And now we get to the big moment, that very first conversation. And this isn't just some casual, off-the-cuff chat. The book details a very specific conversational game plan, all designed to build trust and get the other person to see themselves in your story.
You can see how smart this flow is, right? It's psychologically deliberate. You start by just building a little rapport. Then you share your story. You're not judging them, you're talking about you. By describing the illness from your own experience, the hope is that they'll start to see themselves in what you're saying. And then, the most important step, you wait. You let them get curious enough to ask you for the solution.
Now, a huge piece of that conversation is explaining this concept. The book calls it a queer mental condition, or a mental twist. This is the heart of the problem as the book sees it. It's an obsession of the mind that makes taking that first drink, a disastrous idea, suddenly seem like a perfectly reasonable one. It's why just trying harder is completely useless against it.
So what happens when the person is hooked, when they lean in and ask for help? That's when the approach shifts. The book says to present a practical, spiritual program, but it's super specific about how you're supposed to do this.
I just love this phrase. It perfectly captures the approach. The instruction isn't to sell a program or preach a doctrine, it's to lay out the kit of spiritual tools. The picture it paints is one of a gentle offering. You're just opening up your toolbox, showing what's inside, explaining how these tools worked for you, and letting the other person decide if they want to pick them up. It's an invitation, not a demand.
And the rules for this offering are all about making it as accessible as possible. Yeah, the spiritual part is key, but it's deliberately broad and non-dogmatic. The book really insists on using simple, everyday language and letting the person define their own higher power however they want. The focus is on a practical plan of action offered with absolutely zero pressure.
This leads to what the book calls an absolutely essential idea that you have to burn into the newcomer's mind. And that idea is this: their recovery cannot depend on anyone else or anything else. It doesn't matter if a spouse comes back or if they get their job back. According to this philosophy, the only two conditions for getting well are relying on a higher power and taking action to clean house.
Okay, so let's move into our final section, which is all about the long game. Once someone is sober, how do they actually live in a world that is just filled with alcohol? The book's advice on this is famously counterintuitive.
This is the big question, isn't it? Is the key to staying sober just building a fortress around yourself, avoiding every bar, every party, every possible trigger? Well, the book's answer to that is a very clear no.
So this slide really lays out two totally different ways of thinking. The common idea is to shield the person from temptation. But the book argues that that kind of plan is doomed to failure. It offers a different path, achieving a state of spiritual fitness that makes all those shields totally unnecessary. The goal isn't avoidance. The goal is resilience.
And here we go. We've come full circle. What do you do if you feel that spiritual fitness is a little weak, if you feel tempted, or, as the book says, shaky? The answer isn't to hide. The answer is to go right back to the core principle of this entire chapter. Go find another alcoholic to help. The solution to your own weakness is to be of service to someone else.
And this brings us to the playbook's final, profound idea. The book concludes that the fight was never really with alcohol in the first place. The bottles, they were only a symbol of a much deeper problem. So the ultimate goal isn't just to win the fight against drinking, but to stop fighting altogether, to reach a place of acceptance and peace where the fight just isn't necessary anymore.